You just wandered into the wrong quadrant. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. Hood.
Geeks of the Week.
Steph, I'm sorry you're sick. Report to sick bay immediately. Jake, Five Nights at Freddy's sounds really cool. I love the horror film genre, so I'm curious to see how horror has evolved in the gaming industry. Like, I really enjoy Lulu's analysis and what she had to say about that particular game. And Lulu, I really hope Spider-Gwen gets better. That way you end up liking it, so that series better step it up. By the way, I love what you have to say about Leonard Nimoy. If you ever want to get into Star Trek, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but the biggest obstacle will probably be that the original series is so campy, like super duper incredibly so. But if you can manage to see past that, there's a lot of valuable lessons. Nikki, you have to be careful around the TARDIS. You had a piece sticking out again. Report to sick bay immediately. You're gonna be fine. It's only a flesh wound. Monty Python Star Trek crossover. Monty Python Star Trek crossover. Someone make that a thing. Someone make that a thing. Obviously, I want to talk about the passing of Leonard Nimoy. As you know, I am a Trekkie, and I was introduced to Leonard Nimoy through Star Trek as Mr. Spock. His importance to the series and to the culture is incalculable. Gene Roddenberry referred to him as the conscience of Star Trek, and that is absolutely accurate. He came up with the Vulcan nerve pinch as an alternative to violence because he felt that could be out of character for Spock. The Vulcan salute, which is universal, which is still used to this day, is something he came up with based on his Jewish heritage. Every actor or actress who's played a Vulcan since has followed the model set by Nimoy. And on a personal note, I could be a quiet guy. I'm perceived as shy or awkward. And in Spock, I saw a kindred spirit that just because you possess these qualities doesn't mean you don't have great passion inside. That just because people think you're weird or different isn't a bad thing. Beyond Trek, he was a respected photographer. He made a musical album. That's how we got the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins. He hosted his own paranormal show in search of. He was an author, and in some of those books, he wrestled with the notion of becoming so identified with Spock. So one of them was titled "I Am Not Spock," and the other one was "I Am Spock." He had some voice appearances on The Simpsons, which were comedy. He starred in producing his own film, Never Forget, in which he played a Holocaust survivor, suing a group engaged in Holocaust denial. Later on, he was on Fringe. He made some appearances on Fringe. He started his own version of The Lazy Song by Bruno Mars because, funny enough, the executive who signed Mars to the label is Leonard Nimoy's stepson. How freaking cool is that? Of course, from time to time, he will come back to the Star Trek franchise, especially in the J.J. Abrams films. Sadly, around this time, he announced he was going to retire from playing Spock and from going to Trek conventions because his health was suffering. If you were following him on Twitter, you could tell he was starting to become more reflective towards the end. His health started failing him even more. He developed chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. There's been a lot of touching tributes to this man. And two of my favorite come from Samantha Christopher and Terry Virts, who are astronauts. They're currently at the International Space Station. They took pics up there. She's wearing her Star Trek shirt doing the Live Long and Prosper sign. He also did the sign, but only took the pic of his hand on the window. And you can see the Earth in the background. Flapjacks, that's cool. Leonard Nimoy's influence and work will continue to inspire generations to come. He will always live on that way. As a old country doctor once said, he's not really dead as long as you remember him. While I'm sorta on the topic of Star Trek, one of my favorite episodes is Mirror Mirror, where Kirk finds himself in a parallel world where their counterparts are evil. Spock has a goatee. It's iconic. Anyways, there's a fan created series titled Star Trek Continues, and they did a follow up episode titled Fairest of them All. It's a legit 48-minute thing. It looks exactly like the series, maybe even better, because seriously, the original had a shoestring bubblegum budget. Some of the acting highlights come from Vic Magona, who played Kirk. You could tell he really studied for the role. And Chris Doohan, who played Scotty, who's the actual son of James Doohan, the actual guy who played Scotty on the series. cool. Anyways, I'll provide a link below to where you can find it if you just want to check it out. They actually won a few awards, I believe, for it. So, set faces to awesome time. Comics, the final frontier. These are the reviews of one geek with way too much time on his hands. His mission is to tell you how awesome comics are. This week I'm reviewing Star Trek Planet of the Apes issue 3, written by Scott and David Tipton, of Raquel Stubb. A rip into a different universe has been found, and the Klingons have gone in to gather more resources for the Empire. The Federation suspects something's going on, and they send Kirk and the Enterprise to investigate. What they discover is the Earth ruled by apes in Planet of the Apes. The first issue was the setup, the second issue was fun, and this one's even more fun. I love seeing the interaction between these two franchises. Seeing Kirk fight Taylor, I'd pay to watch that fight. Going in, I wonder if these two worlds were going to be able to mesh, and they have. Dig the artwork. I love the way the apes look and the crew of the Enterprise looks. Yes. These are two of my favorite science fictions. One day I'll do a video about how much I love Planet of the Apes. Not that I love a planet being taken over by apes. Damn those dirty apes. But I love Planet of the Apes. I rate this issue 4.5 out of 5. That's it for me. Remember to like, subscribe, check out the other more awesome geeks, and live long and prosper. That's seriously such a beautiful saying, isn't it? Like, it's just such